1 second. Yeah.
Okay. So, hello, Dr. Mahesh. This is Douglas with Falun Rhythm Institute, and Dr. Mahesh is going to be giving a class on Ayurvedic psychiatry. This is the second one, continuation from the last one. I'll give you the floor, Dr. Mahesh. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Douglas. Today we are here to part of the last conversation. And the last conversation was on only a word with a word-to-word conversation. Today I want to share some of my things with all of you people with the presentation. And we all start over with the blessings of Amma, the universal guru. And this is where I stay. And this place is called as Amritapuri. This is situated in South India, in the lowest part of Kerala, in the Kollam district.
I don't see the media presentation.
You don't see it?
No.
Okay, I'll try to share it once.
Okay.
Okay, now I think you can see it.
Yes. Okay, thank you.
I'll start over. You can start a new recording, I think.
Oh.
Okay.
That's all right. Just continue. I think it's okay.
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 You can see the presentation now?
Yes, I'm going to put you on mute.
Okay. So you're able to see the presentation?
Yes, I can see it.
Okay, so shall I start?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, welcome you all, and we'll start this presentation with the blessings of Amma, the universal guru. And I work in this place and I stay in this place, and this place is called as Amritapuri, and this is situated in southern part of Kerala in South India. And this is Amritapuri, and I work in Amrita University, and this is where I work. This is a Ayurveda college and Ayurveda college building, hospital building also. And today I'm going to discuss a bit on Ayurvedic perspective of mental health. And coming back to the understanding of mental health and its importance in Ayurveda, as we all know that every human being is in search of happiness from the time of conceiving and from the time of birth till the last moments of our life. But there are some things in life which stops us from achieving of all these things, such as like love, hatredness, and other things. And a diseased mind is also one of the causative factors for not stopping us from achieving this happiness. And the diseased mind is compared to a wild serpent, which is filled with extreme passion, improper judgments, delusions, hatredness, infatuations, anger, possessions, and other mental emotions. So coming back to the Ayurveda, and the Ayurveda is a 5,000-year-old Indian system of healing, and it is derived from the Vedic concepts of health and healing. And Ayurveda is a part of the fourth Veda, that is Atharvana Veda, which was mainly focused on the prevention and the treatment of the diseases suffered by the human beings. And it focuses mainly on prevention of illnesses and treatments. The word Ayurveda is derived from the two words Ayu and Veda. Ayu means life, and Veda means the science. So the science of life is called as Ayurveda. So the main aims of Ayurveda is the Ayurveda mainly focuses on the righteous living of the human beings, and Ayurveda always guides what are the duties, moral duties of the human beings, and what he has to do and what he is not supposed to do for proper living throughout his life. And the main basic aims of Ayurveda is achievement of the four super things. That is, one is dharma, artha, kama, and moksha. Where dharma is explained as moral living, or the duties what humans has to do and what humans has to attain. Like we are all bound up with many duties, like duties of a father, duties of children, duties of a mother, duties of a father, or duties of a student, duties of a teacher, duties of doctors. So we are all bound with morals of with all these duties. So we have to be stick down from the time, all the times, all over our life. Next thing is the artha, means the fulfilling of economic needs or the needs of the life, which are essential for a human living. And these are the motivational things for living a happy life or attainment of the happiness in the life. And third one is the karma, that is fulfilling of the desires of human life without being what do you call like crossing the borders of the dharmas. When we all achieve these things, we can lead to a salvation from the life. So that means, according to Indian mythology and Ayurvedic science, we all come from God particles, and we have to return back to the God particles. And in between these journeys, we have to achieve some things, following of all these things: dharma, artha, kama, and moksha. And a diseased person cannot attain all these things, because the diseases becomes a hurdle in following of dharma, proper artha, and proper kama. So, and this and also when these are not attained, we cannot achieve the salvation properly, or we cannot attain the salvation in time. So Ayurveda becomes a tool for attaining proper health, so that one person can follow all these things in and helping in attention of salvation or moksha. So Ayurveda is also considered a tool or a tool for attaining of the moksha. So the person who wants to attain moksha is asked to follow the rules and regulations of health and healthy living, as explained in Ayurveda. And coming back to what is Ayurveda and how did it originate, we have to understand some of the explanations which are given in some of the textbooks of Ayurveda. As we all know that in olden days, the people were mostly concentrated on the righteous living and dedicated their life for spiritual living. And this spiritual living is a understanding of oneself and what understanding of what is divine. So in olden days, many people, including the sages, all dedicated their life in understanding of what is life and what is God, and they spent most of the time in the spiritual activities itself. And after some days, when the people started, these spiritual people who were disconnected from the worldly living. But once some people started getting attracted towards this, enjoying worldly happiness and started moving towards enjoying this worldly happiness. And from this, they started deviating from their day-to-day activities, and they got deviated in righteous living, and they started doing their deviations from the proper health events and started eating the disease-causing foods. And this led the development of disease in these people. And these diseases started affecting the sages in getting involved into their spiritual activities and stopped them from attaining the mokshas. And like this type of ill health activities affected many people from being healthy and being following of all this four, that is dharma, artha, kama, and moksha. And the people, the sages or the rishimunis who were really worried for the betterment of the world, really started getting concerned. So they didn't get the proper answer. So all started gathering and had a meeting, and they wanted to find an answer for this. And they all planned to meet Brahma, who is the creator of the universe. And when all these ancient sages, met Brahma, and Brahma advised them to go for getting the amruta, attainment of amruta, which is called as a nectar. When one person consumes this nectar, he becomes free from diseases. But getting nectar was not that much easy. So we need to have the churning of ocean. So this churning of ocean is that's a big story behind the origin of this Ayurveda. So many people believe that this churning of ocean or Samudra Mantana happened in Mediterranean Sea. Why? And why do they believe that this happened near Mediterranean Sea? Because they understand that many medicinal value plants and the land, which is also of a medicinal value, and that would be the good place to get the nectar. And Lord Brahma also advised that this wouldn't be only possible by the devatas, but also combining hands with the asuras, that is the demons. In those days, demons were also equally powerful to that of gods, and they also wanted to attain salvation. That means moksha, and they wanted to get rid of the death. It was believed that one who consumes this nectar or amrita gets rid from the deaths. That's why that was the idea of Samudra Mantana. So they selected the place of Mediterranean Sea, and there they selected the Sumeru Parvata, that is a mountain, Sumeru mountain, for as a tool for churning the ocean. And they took this sarpa as a churning tool. And I'll show you the picture. See, you can see this. This represents the Samudra Mantana. On one side, we can see the devatas, the gods. On the other side, we can see the demons. So both combined together and started. And you can see in the bottom of the mountain, you can see a turtle. Okay, so that became a tool for or holding up the mountain. And from after churning the ocean, so many things came out of that. And you can see this. Lord Dhanvantari originated from this churning with in one hand a pot of nectar, that is amrita, and in another hand the leeches, which represents the surgical branch of medicine, and in one hand there are some other medicinal plants. So Lord Brahma was the god of Ayurveda, so he was a representative for many branches of Ayurveda. Like this, the Ayurveda origin took place. And we can see this representation of Samudra Mantana in Swarnabhumi airport in Bangkok. We can see that in this airport. So we can discuss regarding the Samudra Mantana in some other video. Now coming back to the Ayurveda. So when the Ayurveda became originated with the blessings of Lord Brahma, and the Lord Dhanvantari became the who is the god of Ayurveda. So coming back to Ayurveda, Ayurveda has been specialized, super specialized, or divided in mainly for easy understanding. The Ayurveda has been divided into 8 branches. Like one is Kaya Chikitsa, which is understood to be a general medicine or compared to internal medicine in the present day. Kaya means to this body and or fire, digestive fire. Chikitsa means to healing. So the healing the body or digestive fire, or the treatment concerned with treatment of the body and the treatment of the digestive fire, is called as general medicine. The second one is the Bala Chikitsa, that is pediatrics, the diseases of children, and how to maintain the health and healthy living of children, how to help the babies grow and grow healthily. So everything has been concealed in under this Bala Chikitsa. And next one is the Graha Chikitsa, that is parapsychology. The science dealt with that is abnormal psychology and its treatments. And next one is the Urdhvanga, that is the treatment of the diseases of head and neck. Nowadays we can compare that with the ENT, that is the ear, nose and throat branch. And the next branch was the Shalya, that is the surgical sciences. And next one is the Dhamstra, that is Dhamstra means to bite. So which includes the treatment of bites of different insects and reptiles and other animals. So it is nothing but today we can what we call it as toxicology. And the next one is the Jara Chikitsa, that is geriatrics, the diseases suffered in the old age and their understanding and the treatment and prevention of early aging also is included in this branch. And the last one is the Rishya, that is a fertility or aphrodisiacs. And as per Indian mythology and Ayurveda, having a progeny is one of the tools to attain the moksha. So it is believed that the person who is not able to give birth to their offsprings is not able to achieve moksha. And it is very essential for a person to give birth to the new generation. That's why Ayurveda also helps in attaining of this also, and helping him to have a good child, and also like this in helpful in attaining moksha. Okay, so this is the last branch of Ayurveda. Do you have any questions to ask here?
No, this is excellent. Thank you. We'll
Yeah.
We'll try to make a platform for live questions too, you know, when we go through more stuff into the future. Okay. Thank you.
Okay. So shall I move on to the next slide?
Yes, this is excellent. Thank you.
Okay. So these are these texts are considered to be the main texts of Ayurveda. One is Charaka Samhita. As we have discussed earlier, the internal medicine or Kaya Chikitsa. So the Charaka Samhita mainly deals with the diseases of the body and mind. And the second one is the Sushruta Samhita, who is the Sushruta is considered to be the pioneer in surgical medicine in the ancient India and in the present generation also. So he is the pioneer in surgical sciences. And third one is the essence of these two, Charaka and Sushruta. It is called as Ashtanga Hridaya, which is written by Vagbhata. And Vagbhata is considered to be a recent text, which is essence of both Charaka Samhita and Sushruta Samhita. And all these three texts are considered to be the basic elements of or basic texts of Ayurveda. And coming back to what are the basics of Ayurveda. So before going to understand Ayurveda, we need to understand its concept. The science of Ayurveda mainly deals with this dosha, dhatu, and mala. So we need to understand what is this dosha, dhatu, and mala. So doshas are considered to be the driving force or a functional force of the body and mind. So there are three doshas of the body and two doshas of the mind. So vata, pitta, and kapha are the driving forces of the body, and rajas and tamas are the driving forces of the mind. So here, vata is to be considered as a neurological or what do you call all the momentary forces which are happening in the body. Ayurveda explains that it is happening due to the vata. Vata is nothing but, in simple words, compared to the air or the electrical impulses, what are happening in the body, the metabolic activities which are happening in the body, or all the driving force behind all these activities in the body is due to vata. And its locations are in the this one, what you call as a large intestine, and it functions all over the body by locating in the large intestines. And the second dosha or second driving force in the body is called as pitta. Pitta in Ayurveda we can it can be compared to all the this metabolic enzymes or digestive juices or all the enzymatic actions or enzymatic reactions happening in the body. The digestive process and the metabolic activities happening in the body is thought to be happening by the actions of pitta. And third one is the kapha, the third driving force in the body or supporting factor. The kapha is mainly the supporting factor of the body, or all the what we call as the fluid part in the body, the nourishment part in the body is happening with the help of kapha. So the kapha is also considered to be the immune portion of the body, the lymphatic portions of the body, and also the built-up of the body is mainly by the kapha. The bulkiness in the body is due to kapha. So even though there are three doshas, pitta and kapha, but the pitta and kapha cannot function without the help of vata. So here vata is considered to be the main doshas in the body. Without vata, nothing can happen in the body. And coming back to the doshas of the mind or driving forces of the mind, one is rajas and another one is the tamas. Rajas is the motivational factor of the body, or the thing which helps us to motivate and get attached with some things. And the rage, the aggression comes from this rajas. And the thought of doing the things and getting the force of the life comes from this rajas. And the second driving force or the dosha of the mind is tamas. The tamas is considered to be the negative portion of the mind. The tamas actually leads from disconnecting from the actual social living, and it is also a negative thing like self-loving or introvertness. These all the negative thoughts in the mind comes from this tamas. So this is the basics of doshas of the body and the mind. And coming back to the dhatus or the building or structural entities of the body, they are 7 in numbers. They are like rasa, means the lymph, rakta, that is blood, mamsa, that is the muscle in the body, muscles in the body, meda, that is fatty portions of the body, and medo mamsa, asti, that is the skeletal bones or skeletal system in the body, and the majja, that is the bone marrow in the body, and lastly the shukra, that is the semen in the body. These are all called the seven dhatus. So these are all the structural entities of the body, and these structural entities of the body support in constructing the body and functioning of the body, but this cannot function without the help of these doshas. So the functioning of the dhatus depending on the proper functioning of the doshas also. And lastly, the malas, that is called the excreta. Once the metabolic activities are over, that ends up with the excretory portion, which has to be excreted, the metabolic end product, which has to be excreted out of the body. Such as in Ayurveda, the excreta, the malas are three. One is this urine, and the fecus or the stools, and the sweat. These are the main excreta of the body. And a person's health is assessed, proper health is assessed by how properly he excretes these waste products out of the body, or metabolic end products or waste products out of the body. If this excretion is not proper, it is considered to be the disease state of the body, such as if there is over excretion of the urine or lack of excretion of the urine, it is considered to be the disease state. So the same thing happens in the excretion of the fecus or stools also, where the bulkiness or the constipations, all these indicate the disease factor of the body. And also coming back to the sweat, when a person is not at all sweating or over sweating, that is also indicating some of the impaired health in the body also. So Ayurveda is giving much importance for the proper consumption of the food, proper digestion of the food, and proper elimination of the food for the maintaining of the proper health of the body. And coming back to one more basic concept of Ayurveda is the Mahabhutas, or the five universal supporting elements, which are like air, water, earth, sky, and this one, fire in the universe, which are supporting. So Ayurveda considers that the human body and all the plants and the animals in the universe are derived from this all five Mahabhutas, or the five universal supporting elements. And the metabolic activities in the body, or a person's build-up and his metabolic activities, are all happening due to the influence of these five universal supporting elements. A person's nature or his built-up is depending on where he is grown and takes birth and grows and develops, because he eats much of the things which are grown in that area, and the plants which are growing in that area are dominant of the universal elements which are dominated in that area. Suppose if it is a dry land or a watery land, the plants also will be having a dominance of these universal elements, and a person consumes those qualities will also be expressed in the body. And sometimes a person indulges in some of the qualities, like plants which are having more water. So when he consumes this type of foods, his kapha in the body will increase, and it will lead to the metabolic derangement in the body. And for treatment of such things, plant which is having the Mahabhuta, like for watery thing, we have to reduce the water content in the body. So we will select a plant which is dominant in the air quality, that is which is dominated by the air. So when we give like opposite qualities, so we can treat such diseases. So proper knowledge of the Mahabhutas and their influence on the plants and their qualities and their medicinal values and the build-up of humans will help a lot in understanding of the diseases and the derangements, and also selecting of the proper plants to treat for the treatment of such ailments is also helpful. And coming back to the gunas are called as the functional qualities of the body and mind, and also of the plants. There are nearly 20 qualities which are related to the body, and 3 qualities related to the mind. So that is what, and also all the medicinal plants are also consisting of these 20 gunas. These gunas are, for example, like heaviness in some of the foods and lightness in some of the foods and medicinal plants. Like some are having sticky nature, like that. There are 20 qualities. And coming back to the mind, we have sattva, rajas, and tamas. So these are the gunas of the mind, where rajas and tamas I have already explained. Sattva is the the constructive mind, or a constructive nature of the mind. And coming back to what is psychiatry and Ayurveda, Ayurveda mainly emphasizes on the physical health, mental health, and the spiritual health. So the body is made up of the physical body, the mental body, and the spiritual body. So Ayurveda gives equal importance to all these things, and the proper health of the physical health, proper mental health, will also help in attainment of proper spiritual health also. So in psychiatry, we have to be considering all these three aspects. And coming back to the basic concepts of the mind, we need to understand what is mind and how does it work out. In Ayurveda, the mind is considered to be a tool for thought process. In Ayurveda, it is called as manastu chintyam arthaha. That is, how does the thought process happen? In all this process of the thought, mind is very much involved. That is, manas is an entity which is responsible for contemplation and thinking, like chintyam, vicharyam, uhyam, deyam, and sankalpam. That means it is a process of thought as per Ayurvedic sciences. A person thinking of what to be done, what not to be done, what are the good qualities of a thing which is to done, and what qualities of the thing which is to be done. So we have to be thinking like whether to do this thing or not to do these things. So like this type of thinking lastly yield up in taking a decision. And this decision is always bound up with emotional thinking also. So the whole thought process is happening like that. Understanding of the things, understanding of the good qualities and the bad qualities of that thing, and what are the circumstances of being happening by doing such things, and what are the positive outcomes and the negative outcomes of one's behavior. And also, when we take the decision, always there is a involvement of an emotional angle or emotional aspects. So all these things, and lastly, we take a decision based on all these things. So this all process is supported by the mind. So that's why it is totally called as manastu chintyam arthaha. Or else one more explanation regarding mind is known as the manyate, nyayate, vabuddhyate iti manah. That is an entity which receives the information and analyzes that information and gives a reply according to what is being received and analyzed. And this is called as mind, or totally it can be compared to as cognition. And based on this functioning analysis of the mind, once a disease state and the ill state of the mind could be understood. And these are the two things which are considered for the assessment of the mind for its disease state and the healthy states. And coming back to the qualities of mind, anutvam, ekatvam are the two qualities of the mind. Anutvam, ekatvam cha dauguna manasaha. Means these are the two basic, mind has two basic qualities. One is anuttam, means it is so minute in dimensions. That means one cannot see it and one cannot understand its functioning. It is so minute and it is so fast in its action. And coming back to ekatvam, means it is one in, it is always one. What does it mean? Unitary nature means it can do only one thing at a time. So many we believe that we have a multitasking thing, but it is a false idea. Mind can only do one thing at a time. So what are all we are doing like multitasking or multifunctioning? We all think that mind can do multiple things at a time, but it is not true. As per Ayurveda, mind always only connects to one entity at one time. So why this knowledge is very important? Because so many times we have something like we are unable to do some things. So at that time we counsel the patients. And some people suffering from lack of concentrations and attentions. And they have a myth of this. And this at this time, we train them to concentrate on one particular thing at one time by using application of yoga and meditation. So their problem with attention and concentration will be treated at that time. So, that is the explanation of these things. And coming back to the operational qualities of the mind, or how we can see different people with different natures or different behaviors, we can see like that. And why does all this happen like this? Some people are acting very good, very kind. Some people are very egoistic. Some people are very negative thinking. Why do this all happen? So this is explained in Ayurveda because mind is made up of three qualities, and a person will be having a dominance of any one of these qualities or all of these qualities as per the situations and the times. So mainly there are three qualities of the mind. One is sattva guna, that is which is called as like a topmost quality or a purest quality of the mind. It is a disease-free or a purest state of the mind, which is filled with love, kindness, and humanity. A person with sattva guna is always lovable, and he is worried not always about the world, and he's a constructive man mainly. And always Ayurveda tells to be in the sattva guna. Okay, and rajo guna is mainly indicating the ego quality of the person, or what you call the selfish thinking. And the rajo guna also helps us to building up a personality of a person, and it is a denoter of a person's quality. And third one is the tamo guna, that is the negative entity, that is antisocial thinking. What are all the negative things we have in the mind? It is coming from this tamo guna. So in modern psychology, it is compared to like the ego and the super egos. Id is compared to the tamo guna, and ego is compared to the rajo guna, and super ego may be considered with the sattva gunas. So a diseased person either is in the state of tamos or rajas. And Ayurvedic psychotherapy mainly deals with taking a person from either state to the ego state, and ego state to the super ego state. That is from tamoguna, we have to push him to rajoguna by some of the activities. And from rajoguna, we have to take him to sattva-guna. So this is the main thing. Like first we need to assess what's the status of his mind, whether he's in tamas dominance or rajas dominance or sattva dominance. And there we have to plan the treatment and psychotherapies, so that we can take him to the sattva. And Ayurveda also explains the qualities of the food, what we eat, also is dominant of this tamoguna and rajoguna. A person who is eating a food which is having the tamoguna will also have the dominance of tamoguna. Likewise, for a person who is indulged too much in food which are having the rajoguna will have the enhancement of rajoguna. And the person who is consuming the food and lifestyle which is dominant of sattva-guna will be having the benefits of sattva-guna. So this food is also very essential in treatment of mental illness. And also the lifestyle is also sattvika lifestyle, rajasika lifestyle, and tamasika lifestyle. Even the activities what we do and the clothing what we wear and the place where we live is also dominated by these sattva-guna, rajoguna, and tamoguna. We need to understand like what are the importance and where we have to go, where we should not go to lead a healthy life. Otherwise, we'll end up with mental illness which are dominated by either rajoguna or tamoguna. So do you have anything to discuss here?
Well, there is a couple questions that came up before.
Before this.
Yeah, one was about the first dhatu in the body. I've heard different ideas. Yeah, in Tibetan medicine, we say it's the digested food stuff coming out of the small intestine into the liver. And then in some Ayurvedic texts, they say it's the plasma of the blood. And then what you used was the lymph. And I'm wondering if it's just a way of denoting more tissue. Obviously, food stuff isn't necessarily tissue, and we use a different word too. In medicine, we say body constituents rather than body tissue. So I'm wondering, why you use the term lymph, and maybe why sometimes it's used plasma.
Let's see there are so many explanations. Why do this so many explanations? Because these explanations are related to the contextual meanings. Because when we are speaking of growth and development, we have to consider them as tissues. And when we are considering eating and metabolizing and nourishment, we call it as like food, ahara, rasa, what you call as. So like that, they're all at contextual meanings. Okay. But when it comes to the structural entities, these are the like what I said, like lymph, bone, and other things. These are there which are from our parents, like from some portions from the father and some portions from the mother, and these are there to grow and develop. So the food becomes a source for the growth and development of all these 7 dhatus. When it comes to the food, it is called as ahara, rasa, or lymph, whatever we say, like a nourishment. Okay. But when it comes to the structural entities, these dhatus are what I said, like lymph, bone, muscle, bone marrow, and other things.
Mm-hmm.
But what is the thing? No, these are irreversible, or what it means they are all structural entities. Once they're grown, they cannot be regrown. And the main source of understanding, or these structural entities are having a good life and a disease state, good state and a disease state. And the good states and the disease state depends on how we live and how we eat. And their nourishment and the growth and the disease states depends on what we eat. So at that context, they are considered to be the food juices, or what you call the nourishment portion of the food. And then all other aspects, they are considered as the structural entities.
I see. Okay.
So the explanation is the same, but we do interpret in a different way. So we need to understand, put a barrier, strong barrier, that at that context it is that meaning, and this context this is this meaning.
Mm-hmm. The other question I wanted to ask you is here it says guna, functional qualities of body and mind. So
yeah,
when we talk about the three gunas, we're talking about the Ayurveda suggesting maintaining yourself in the sattva guna.
Yeah.
So, but then, how do you explain the functionality of tamas and of rajas? Like the obviously it must have a function. Yeah, the tamas guna.
Yeah, that's so. I think that I thought you would. I should have explained that, but I thought that I will explain that in a different context. But here I need.
Okay.
I'll explain that, because see here, as I explained in the Samudra Mantana, or churning of the ocean, the combination of the godly forces and the evil forces. See, as we are born as humans, and when we don't have we should, as a humans, we should be built up. We are all built up with both the positive qualities and the negative qualities. A person, if always the positive qualities, will end up with the sattvika guna. Okay, a person who is with sattvika guna cannot come back to normal life or a family life, as we see here. Okay, I'll show you that. So here, a person with totally sattvika guna will become a what do you call rishi muni, or a sage. He will go into spiritual life, or he may not come back to the family life. Whereas we have humans, and family life is very much essential, and we need a essence of rajas and tamas guna to be as humans. Okay, so we cannot be one person who is totally with the dominance of sattva guna cannot come back to a family life, and he cannot go for a birth of an offspring and other things, which is not as per Ayurvedic principles. And here there is a definite barrier for spiritual life and normal human life. For a normal human, we need a essence of rajoguna and tamoguna, because a balance of these things, like see, sometimes even though tamoguna is negative, but the attachment, like mother and the child attachment, it comes from this one. A person who is rid of tamoguna cannot have much attachment with relationships. So what we call, sometimes the balance of this tamoguna is very essential, but it is required for developing